President Obama promised a break from the past. He said no more Washington infighting, no more political gamesmanship. But after weeks of the Rush Limbaugh saga, isn't there something a little Clintonian about this fight that the White House seems to have picked with Rush? With us now, MSNBC political analyst Pat Buchanan and Democratic strategist Bob Shrum. Pat, it seems like, based upon the narrative we're getting, the saga, all this, it started with a poll taken last October by Carville and Begala, and they basically suggested that that was a good fight to make for the president. He was an unpopular figure, Rush Limbaugh, back in October, and apparently that was passed along to the White House. We're not getting any denials along that line. Is this smart to pick a bad guy out there and say he's the enemy? We've designated our opposition leader.
I think it's a perfect tactic, an excellent tactic to use in a campaign, to designate someone who represents the other side and doesn't have any reach, basically, you feel, in the people you need to get. But, Chris, Barack Obama is president of the United States. He came in as a post-partisan president. He's been reaching out to Republicans. And to get this Begala, Carville, Rahm tactic and have a great good time all week in this crass political fight, it hurts the president because it moves him into a total partisan vein. And, frankly, later in the week, they're in a fight with Rush Limbaugh. What in heaven's name, when the market has lost 55 to 60% of its value, people are concerned, 650,000 out of work, and here they are arguing with Rush Limbaugh, the White House, right from the podium in the West Wing. It's a terrible mistake. They ought to get down to business. They're good at politics. They have not shown yet, Chris, they are good at governing.
Bob Shrum.
Well, first of all, if you pass a bill as big as they passed, as fast as they passed, right at the beginning of the presidency, they're pretty good at governing. Secondly, the person who's hurt here, the group that's hurt here, are the Republican Party. Rush has helped because it helps build his audience.
Numbers are double, apparently.
Yeah, the president's helped, and Democrats are helped because he got a 15% approval rating in that poll. I mean, I helped found the Democracy Corps, which took that poll. I left it when I went to the Kerry campaign because there would have been a conflict of interest. And, of course, they had this conversation. If you saw a poll and it said this guy has 15% approval, you'd tell, Carville would tell Rahm, I mean, it's...
Do you think that the poll numbers hold up 4 months, though? Do we think Rush is in that same shape right now?
I think he's probably in worse shape. And after that CPAC appearance, you know, bouncing up and down. I mean, he is out... Look, this isn't like Clinton in 93 or 96 fighting with Newt Gingrich.
Well, let's get a peek at this, the way this thing developed here. Here's how Paul Begala, who's a smart guy with Anderson Cooper, who's a good reporter, on Wednesday night.
But clearly, if you're talking to Rahm Emanuel every day on the phone, and this light bulb has gone off in your head and James Carville's head, I find it hard to believe you didn't say to Rahm Emanuel, guess what? Look at these poll numbers.
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep careful notes of these things. My view is I keep private conversations private, Anderson.
Okay.
Well, that's a non-denial.
That's ridiculous.
That's how we say it in this business. You just say, I'm not denying it. So obviously you're right, Pat. They have shared. They are all smart guys. They think this is why. My worry is as the economy gets worse, that Rush Limbaugh has been smart to go back to the Republican core, which is self-interest, taxes. And that's a strong fight for the Republicans. They always do well when they defend against high taxes. They always win on that point.
Chris, what is the White House... Barack Obama, President of the United States, we've elected him. I think almost everybody wishes him well because if he fails, the country fails. What are they doing getting in this silly partisan
there may be an issue that's developed today. Let's take a look at what Rush Limbaugh said today about the health care bill that's now being fought for, which a lot of people want, including a lot of business people. We're talking about it more in the show. It's not just a left versus right fight anymore. And what he said about Senator Ted Kennedy.
We have a banking and a credit crisis. Obama and his team had a show gathering to focus on the problem, but they have done a little, if anything, to so much as start fixing it. Any leader would keep focused on fixing that mess, but that's not the stuff that makes approval numbers rise, because there really isn't much he can do except shift people's attitudes about it. So he's moved on to health care. This is highly visible, it's news-leading, gets a great focus, plus it has the great liberal lion Teddy Kennedy pushing it. Before it's all over, it'll be called the Ted Kennedy Memorial Health Care Bill.
What do you make of that?
It's outrageous. It's typical of him. He's a tasteless guy. He'll say anything. He appeals to haters. And he is the face of the Republican Party right now because no one else is doing a very good job and because he went to CPAC. Look, this is not like the 90s. Gingrich at his worst was massively popular compared to Rush Limbaugh. And stuff like this is just going to make it more difficult.
Well, will you tell me what you guys are doing The country's in a horrible mess. You got the White House. You got both houses of Congress. You've got a horrendous crisis. Since the guy's been inaugurated, the market has gone into a bear market since he's inaugurated, and you're out there getting in a fight with Rush Limbaugh. You guys won the White House.
Utter drivel. Nobody can blame the unemployment that we now have, or this month's unemployment numbers, or what's happened to the market on this president. This president has just started in, and he's going to be judged by results. And by the way, I do not believe the country sees this as a fight between Rush Limbaugh and the President of the United States. I think they see the President out there in Ohio fighting for jobs, fighting to make this economy better, fighting on health care.
Take a look at this chart. Reality check. Take a look at this chart on the Dow Jones since President Obama's been in office. It shows the problem we all face right now. This drop in the economy did not stop dropping after Election Day. Since Election Day. Look what it's done since Election Day.
Now, Chris,
this is, in other words, the market, which is a lot of Republicans up in New York, a lot of market people who don't like what they hear coming from Obama.
It is people who want to make money. Chris, what's happened? He's got a stimulus bill, and he's got it through $600 or $800 billion. He's got his housing bill. Geithner's got his bank bill, and we've got his budget. And the whole country, people with money, are saying this isn't going to work. The stock market is a lead indicator. It tells you where the economy is going to be 6 months from now. It is a vote of no confidence in Barack Obama. Please, Mr. President, address this and get off this Mickey Mouse stuff.
That is a whole new theory no one has ever brought up.
A lead indicator. I took graduate economics.
Why is the market so smart? Why has everybody lost billions and trillions of dollars
what I'm saying is
in the marketplace? All these traders have all lost $1 trillion.
You don't understand what a lead indicator is.
The market lagged what was happening in the real economy up until a few months ago. And Barack Obama is not responsible for what's driving the market down, which are these numbers that are coming out that are showing profits collapsing in all these companies.
The market is
and you know what Obama does that's really smart? We can sit here and argue.
Tell us how smart he is. Okay.
I'm going to tell you. He says very straightforwardly to the country, I'll be judged by results, and I'm content with that. So people are going to predict doom.
Chris, let me tell you about a lead indicator.
When's it fair to judge Barack Obama's economic program? Our polling shows that people will begin to judge it a year or so from now, a year or two from now. Would you say we can judge it right now? His economic program. Can we judge it today?
You can't judge it finally, of course not. But, Chris, when I say a lead indicator, the market, in other words, when it starts down, the real economy doesn't start down till 6 months later. The real economy stayed pretty well as the market was telling us where it's going. That's what economists mean by lead indicators. Unemployment is a lag indicator. It follows what is happening.
The real economy was in lousy shape before the stock market started going like this.
I think we're all right. Anyway, thank you, Pat Buchanan. Thank you, Bob Shrum.